Hi, I'm Megan. Welcome to my Sweet Digs. I live in a 3-bed, 2-bath in Austin, Texas. Fun fact, this home was built in 1971. Come on in. My design style really evolves naturally. Like if I find an item that I absolutely love at a thrift store or a vintage shop, I'll anchor a room on that item. But I would say throughout the house, I let each room kind of take on its own design style. My husband and I pay about $2,000 a month for a mortgage. We paid $320,000 for the house a couple of years ago. So we have a pretty open concept home. So I'm gonna take you through the entryway into our kitchen, which is off here to the left. When we first moved in here, it was really dark, all brown cabinets. Everything's very kind of mid-2000s builder's grade kitchen. So I repainted the cabinets, this like fun, bright, mid-century turquoise, the upper cabinets white to keep everything really light, and then added some more vintage touches throughout. So really just trying to maximize what we have, and eventually we'll replace our countertops and make other little finishing touches as we go. So I'll take you out into our dining room area, which is here just off of the kitchen. I really wanted to have something that felt like a little bit more of a formal dining space where you could sit down and have a meal, but still really funky and fun and bright colored. So we went with, a vintage table, and then I made this big glassware display that I was able to source from estate sales and thrift stores. And so just little details like that in this space, really keeping with the orange, kind of vibey 70s color palette. My home style is definitely eclectic and bold. It mixes a lot of different eras, so it doesn't sit firmly in the 60s or 70s. It kind of spans everything from the 50s to today. So mixing a lot of modern pieces, vintage items, and just having a really bright, bold style. This is one of my favorite pieces of art I've ever found, and I just feel like she's kind of my inner vibe, this like crazy ginger with a cheetah. So I love her, and I really wanted her to be a focal point of the dining room. There are a lot of great vintage shops in Austin. That's where I've gotten a lot of my furniture. I found this table, which I think is super unique. So I'm always looking for things that are a little bit offbeat, something that you don't see typically in a dining room that makes it feel a little bit more casual and comfortable. So the dining room area really shares a space with this living room space over here. This is where we spend a lot of our time. I still wanted it to feel formal enough to go with the dining room, but really still have that relaxed, kind of sunken in, loungy feel. When I laid out the space, I was really thinking more about functionality. So all of the different things we want to be able to do in our home, especially being home so much lately. We've got, both of us working from home, so 2 home offices, and then these main living spaces where we really wanted to be able to both do our hobbies as well as spend time together. I'm always looking for affordable ways to add color to my space, and I feel like a way to make a really big impact is by adding things like blankets to a blanket ladder, or really big pieces of statement art, like stretched canvas. My next home upgrade are windows and skylights. This house currently is a little bit dark, especially during the day, even when it's fully bright out. So adding a couple windows is gonna help a lot. So coming in from the living room and dining room area, we have this really sweet archway, and I wanted to really accentuate it. So I added this orange paint to the inner side of it. So this is our addition bonus room area. Honestly, when we first moved in, it was so much space than I was used to, but we decided to make it more of a kind of casual, loungy, entertaining area, thinking about function and what we really wanted to be able to do in this space. So we read back here, we listen to records. So it's very much a multi-use space, so we really had to kind of section it off into these different areas. This is probably my least touched space. It's my husband's office space. I've kind of let him, design it the way he wants it. My husband's super agreeable with design choices, which is great. We've lived together for a long time. We've been together for almost 12 years, so I feel like our design style has sort of evolved together, but he definitely lets me take the reins, especially as I'm experimenting with design choices. So some of our DIYs have been very functionality based. We wanted a space that we could work out at home, so we took this brick wall that's actually used to be the exterior of the house, but when they added the addition on, they kept these brick walls inside here, so we used it as a place to kind of hang up all of our workout equipment, have weights, stuff that we could basically do our own kind of at-home virtual workouts. We have a lot of records. We love to listen to records back in this space. So I've got this vintage unit that we found off of Facebook Marketplace. So this is all of our record collection, alphabetized. It's like the one area that I'm super organized in. So this area actually opens out into our covered patio, which we've got a really fun sort of tropical bar space. Typically, this is a really nice warm space for us to come out and enjoy our bar, which I got off of Craigslist. Part of my design style is blending a lot of different eras. I feel like a lot of folks who design their homes in a vintage style stick very firmly to one era and are very, concerned about making sure everything is era specific and period piece. But I feel like vintage and thrifting and kind of figuring out a way to blend all those styles is going to give a lot more people access to it. So I feel like I really appreciate bringing a lot of different eras and styles together. It's just kind of more of a fun space where I put a lot of different kitsch elements out here. When we first toured this house, I knew that I wanted to do some kind of big 70s inspired mural. So this is kind of a sunrise motif out here in our bar area. It was one of the first projects I tackled, which of course was a little bit of a distraction from putting our home together out here painting a mural, but I'm so happy with it. And then out from that main addition area in the back, there are French doors that go into our main bedroom and our main bathroom. This is another space that we haven't really touched renovations-wise. We definitely need a window in this room. Right now, there's not a single window in our bedroom, but for now, we just designed it in a way that felt cohesive with the house. But yeah, lots of fun little kind of vintage elements in here. We actually have 2 closets in this space. I have a nice big closet, and then my husband has a smaller closet. And then we also have a bathroom off of this space. I think the thing that influences my home the most is that I am a complete treasure hunter. I've always loved the thrill of the hunt. It was something I started when I was really young with my dad. And so I'm always incorporating those into my home. So this is a really fun vintage valet chair. These are really meant to kind of be your getting ready area. It actually has a little compartment that you can store stuff in. So super fun, kind of different vintage piece. So this is my dresser. I will admit that I have both the largest closet and the whole dresser to myself. My husband's very giving in that way. I've also used DIY to design a lot of elements in my home that you would typically have to buy retail. I've been using things like reupholstery to upcycle thrifted items. I got this really beautiful waterfall bench that was a great shape, but it had really ugly fabric on it. So this is the waterfall bench that I upcycled. So I found this vintage 70s kind of velour striped fabric at a local vintage shop and reupholstered it myself. Our main bedroom opens out into our hallway, which takes you to our guest bedroom and my office. So this is our guest bedroom. Because we're from Seattle, we have guests visit a lot. So I really wanted to make the space super comfortable, fun, almost feel like an Airbnb or hotel. So one of the main DIYs in here was actually a last minute DIY. I didn't know what to do with this wall. I had this great piece of art. It was definitely my anchor piece for the whole room, but it was sort of just floating on this wall. So I thrifted a bunch of these frames and then was able to upcycle them with the same paint color and really create this dramatic effect that makes the room feel a lot taller. I love the design style in Wes Anderson movies, so you'll find kind of quirky little elements that hint at different movies that Wes Anderson has made and the design from those movies. I also come from a very artistic family, so my sister sent me a gift last year for Christmas that was these really cute little foxes. She handmade them from, I believe, like thrifted sweaters and thrifted jeans and then fabric that she found, and I feel like they are a total fantastic Mr. Fox vibe. Because the closet didn't have to be super functional, I wanted it to be another designed area. So it's this kind of fun little, almost like a telephone booth. I've got my little gossip bench that I upcycled, reupholstered, painted, and added some caning to it. And then I used peel and stick wallpaper. Down the hallway at the very end, we have my office. This is my office. It was the first space that I designed just out of that frantic need for needing my own space to be creative, but also work my 9 to 5. So I have actually 2 areas in this office, one that's really where I spend my 9 to 5 time. And then I also have my creative space where I'm currently learning to sew. So for these side-by-side tables, I found these really great tulip chairs, bringing in a little pop of blue into the room. I was obsessed with Elvis growing up. It was kind of the start of my love for vintage and everything, 1950s, 1960s. So I've got this Elvis bust. I'm really hoping for our next home to have those classic mid-century touches. So I'd love it to be an era-specific house with something like a sunken living room or one of those really cool design features that you don't see in houses today. This home has been my primary creative outlet. It's where I've been putting all my creative energy, and it's definitely something where I've gotten to DIY, learn a lot of new things, and really dive into vintage design.